Hi, today we will see the fundamental of energy from renewable energy sources. The word energy is derived the Greek word en ergon. It means in work or work content. Importance of energy. Without the energy, nothing can be performed in this world. All physical activities in the world, whether carried out by human beings or by nature, are caused due to the flow of the energy from the sum of the source. Energy is required for doing all kinds of work. The work output depends upon the energy input. The capability or to do any work depends upon the amount of the energy one can control and utilize. The energy is most basic infrastructures input and required for the economic growth and development of country. The evaluation of energy utilizing systems. Few hundred years ago, the people were essentially dependent on manual and animal labor to obtain the energy to perform the various activities. Then the several physical mechanisms were evolved to promote the energy and supply. In 1785, the invention of the steam engine, James Watt and Scotland brought the industrial revolutions. It was a beginning of mechanical age or other age of machines. Then the advent of internal combustion engine in the late of 19th century gave further movement of trend. The industrial revolution spread the whole world. The energy has been lifeblood and the progress of human civilizations. Thus, with an increase and living the standards of human being, energy consumption is also accelerated. In 1888, Nikola Tesla invented the commercial induction motor. The introduction of electrical machines along the commercial and sophisticated engineering mechanisms have been brought to practice to deliver the required energy or taking the forms of energy. Hence, the energy revolution has taken place in the world. The energy consumption and standard of living. The energy is an important output of all sectors of any country's economy. The standard of living of the given country can be directly related to the energy consumptions. The energy utilized of human activities can be classified into following major sectors: domestic sector and transportation sector, agriculture sector and industrial sectors. The consumption of more energy in a country indicates the more activities in different sectors. That implies the better comfort at home due to the use of various appliances, better transport facilities and more agricultural activities in industrial productions. All these make better quality of life. Therefore, per capita energy consumption of the country index standard living the prosperity of people of that country. At present, the total annual energy consumption of the world is estimated 11 kilowatt hour, and the 22% of energy consumed by USA, 6% of the world populations in India, 17% of population consumes 2.6 of total world energy. This mismatch reflects the negative differential in quality of life of the Indian people. The electricity is considered as a necessary requirement of economic and social development of country. For the year of 2007, the annual per capita electricity energy connections of ESA was 12 and 133 kilowatts hour. It was 400 kilowatt hour. Developing countries at present export the primary products such as food grains and coffee, tea, jute and the different metals ones or the etc. of the raw form. This does not give them the full value of their resources. To get the better value, the primary products should be processed to finished products export. This needs the energy, the capital energy in developed countries remains much more than the developing countries. If the standards of living in the developing countries is improved and approaches that the developed countries, the energy requirement will be much more than the estimation, classification of energy resources. Based on the usability of energy, the primary resources, the energy resources, fossil of fuel, uranium, hydro energy, and known as the energy resources. Intermediate resources, energy resources obtained from the primary energy by one or the most transformation. It is used as vehicle energy. Petrol, diesel are the example for the immediate sources. Then the secondary sources form the energy is finally applied to the consumer for utilization is known as the secondary or usable energy. Electrical energy, thermal energy, chemical energy. Based on the traditional use, the conventional, the energy resources which have been traditionally used for many decades are called conventional energy sources. Fossil fuels and nuclear and hydro resources. Non-conventional, the energy resources which are considered for a large scale use of after the oil crisis are called non-conventional energy sources, solar, wind and biomass etc. Based on the long-term availability, renewable sources, the resources of which are renewed by nature again and again and their supply is not affected by the rate of their consumptions are called renewable. Solar, wind, biomass and ocean geothermal, hydro etc. Non-renewable, the resources of which are finite and do not and replenish after the consumption are called non-renewable. Fossil fuels and uranium etc. based on the commercial application, commercial energy resources. The secondary usable energy forms such as electricity, petrol, diesel, gas etc. are essential for commercial activities, so they are categorized as the commercial energy resources. Non-commercial energy resources, the energy derived from the nature and used directly without passing through the commercial outlet and non-commercial resources. Wood, animal dung, cake and crop residue etc. Based on the origin, energy may be differentialized. The source of the supply, they are fossil fuel energy, nuclear energy, hydro energy, biomass energy, geothermal energy and tidal energy, star energy, wind energy, ocean energy and the ocean wave energy. The consumption of trend of the primary energy resources. The average percentage of trend various primary energy sources or consumption of the country. Biomass is 4%, solar it is 0.5%, geothermal 0.2%, solar PV is 0.05%, hydro energy is 3%, wind energy is 0.3%, biofuel is 0.2% is used. We know that the heavy dependence on the fossil fuel stands out clearly. About the 87% of the world's energy supply comes mainly from the fossil fuels. The share of the fossil fuel is more than 90% in case of India. India is the fifth place of the consumed energy source in the world level. India meets its energy requirement 54% energy from the coal and 32% energy from the oil, 9% in natural gas. Total energy available in this world obtained the 38% from the crude oil and 28% of the total energy from the coal and 21% energy from the natural gas and 6% from the nuclear, 7% from the renewable energy source. Future availability of primary energy resources. Oil is 100 years, natural gas is 260 years, coal is 500 years. But these energy sources will not be available in the same level in all places of the world. The energy available status is only fixed by the nature and environment. Due to these resources utilizations varies place to place, any country to country. Energy crisis. In futures, there will be the storage energy of the human utilization, which is termed as the energy crisis. The energy crisis is due to the following reasons. The populations of the world has increased rapidly. The standard living of the human beings has increased. In order to overcome the crisis of the renewable energy sources, tapped suitably from its various sources. Importance of energy sources. The ever increasing the use of the fossil fuels, rapid depletions of these resources have led development alternative sources of energy, renewable, environment friendly. As the demand of energy is increased due to the rapid industrializations and populations of growth, the conventional energy sources of energy will not be sufficient to meet growing the demand. Conventional sources or non-renewable sources abound or finish one day. Conventional sources also causes the pollutions, thereby the usage of decades of environmental. Large hydro resources affected the wildlife, cause the deforestation of the create the various social problems due to the constructions of the big dams. The fossil fuels are also used for the raw material in chemical industries and need consumed for the future generations. Due to the above reasons, it has become important to explore to develop the non-conventional energy resources to reduce too much of dependence of conventional resources. The development of non-conventional sources will serve as a supplement rather than the substitute of conventional sources. Initiative taken by the government for the development of non-conventional energy. The government of India has understood the energy demand for the future India, so devised several plans to promote the renewable energy. In 1981, the government of India established the Commission for Additional Source of Energy and the Department of Science and Technology. In 1982, non-conventional energy resources under the Ministry of Energy was created. In 1987, India Renewable Energy Development Agency Limited was established. In 1992, once was later converted into Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy Sources, which is actively engaged in promoting the various renewable energy sources. Energy change. In general, we cannot use the energy available from the primary energy sources directly. For examples, we cannot drive an electric motor from the primary energy source of uranium or coal. The energy available from the primary energy source is known as the raw energy. This energy undergoes the various forms of transformations before utilized directly. The sequence of energy transformations between the primary and secondary is known as the energy chain energy route. Primary energy source, non-electric route, electric route, final energy consumptions, non-electric route and electric route. The primary energy processing, secondary energy transport, railway route and consumer. This is a non-electric route. Electric route, primary energy processing, electrical energy transmission and consumer. Common forms of energy. Mechanical energy. Mechanical energy is referred to movement of the objects, changing the shape of the objects and so on. It is used in transporting, handling and processing, agriculture and other industrial process. Electrical energy. The electrical energy is a top-rate energy. It is used for the universally as vehicle of energy. About 30 to 40% of energy distributions in the world is made through the electrical supply systems at present. Thermal energy. It is used to raise the temperature of an object during the industrial process. With the help of the heat engines, it can be converted into the mechanical energy. The three grades of the thermal energy. High grade. It can be converted efficiently into the mechanical energy. Medium grade. It can be converted into mechanical energy without difficulty. Low grade. It can be converted to mechanical energy efficiently. Mostly it is used for the purpose of heating. Chemical energy. The fuels and organic matter contain the chemical energy. Electrometric and chemical reactions release the heat energy in the fuel cells and storage the batteries. Chemical energy is directly converted into the electrical energy. In combustion, it may be converted into the thermal energy. The silent features of conventional energy sources. Advantages. The production of the cost of the electrical energy using the conventional energy sources is less than the non-conventional energy sources. Transportation of conventional energy sources is easy. It is very convenient to use. By storing the certain quantity of energy, availability can be ensured for certain period. Can use a new technology for production of energy. Fossil fuel generate the pollution such as CO, CO2, NOx, SOx, particulate matter and heat. The pollutions degrade of environment, whose health hazards and cause the various other problems. From the long-term point of view, the desirable conserve the coal for future needs, the safety needs of plants and controversial objects. Major problem with the uses of nuclear. The waste material generated in nuclear plants has dangerous levels of radioactivity. Possibilities of accidental leakage of radioactivity material from the reactors. Limited resources. As a large area of submerged into the water, it leads to deformations. Causes of ecological disturbances of the earthquakes. Causes of dislocation of large population. Rehabilitation problems arises for displaced populations. Major problems of hydroelectric energy. Hydroelectric plants with cleanest but large hydropower reservoirs cause the following problems. A large area of submerged into the water, it leads to deforestation, causes the ecological disturbances of the earthquakes, affected by the wildlife, causes the dislocation of large population, consequently rehabilitation problems. The silent speeches of the non-conventional energy sources. Non-conventional energy sources are available in nature free of cost. They are environmental friendly. They are inexhaustible. They have low gestation period demerits. Through the available freely in nature, the cost of harvesting energy from the non-conventional sources is high. Uncertainty of availability. The energy of fuel depends upon the various natural phenomena behind the human control. Difficulty in transporting this form of the energy. Environmental aspect of energy. Trade-off between the energy and environment. Air, soil and water are the main constituents of environment. The nature has originally provided them to human beings in a clean form. Because of the number of activities involving the energy generation and its utilizations, the quality of environment is continuously degraded. Heat and some pollutants may be produced during every energy conversion process. Both of these cause certain degradations of the environment. Therefore, the supplying the increased energy demand, efforts should be adopt the measures of degradations of the environment. The ecological imbalance. Ecology deals with the relationship of living organizations of environment. Normally, the nature has self-cleaning capability and recycle resources through the various process, and this maintains the states of equilibrium where the human interference exceeds the limits of ecological balance and disturbed. Greenhouse effect. Due to the energy utilization, CO2 is emitted from the usage of various fuels. This CO2 moves upward in the atmosphere and forms as envelope around the earth. The CO2 envelope present around the globe and in the atmosphere behaves similar to glass plane and forms a big global greenhouse. This prevents the release of heat from the earth, which leads to global warming. The phenomena is known as the greenhouse effect. Global warming is caused by the emission excessive CO2 from the burning process of fossil fuels in industries, the burning of woods, and due to agricultural effect. In the recent years, the average global temperature is increased at the rate of 0.2 degrees centigrade per decade. This may be lead to melting of polar snow caps, thereby increasing the level of oceans. The pollutants generated from the energy and conversion process may be increase the concentration of CO2 from the present level. The global warming causes the several heat waves, more intense the tropical cyclones, and change of the rainfall patterns, and melting of ice and glaciers, and causing of floods, followed by decline of water supply, increase the incidence of the vector borne and decreases like the malaria. Pollution effect and indoor pollutions. The indoor pollution is mainly caused due to the use of the conventional fuels of rural areas of utilize the biomass energy. The age smoke information taking place about 5 lakh children and women die disease of the pollutions of every year. The indoor pollutions can be reduced by using improved household stores. Outdoor pollution is mainly caused by the fossil and fuels automobiles or emissions of the fossil based on the industry's degrade environment and cause the various problems of coal and or the greater pollutions of the gas remedy. High technology for loss pollution should be employed for the use of the fossil fuel. Clean alternative fuels as the hydrogens should be used. Electrical vehicles or battery operated vehicles should be used. Energy and sustainable development. Energy is a block of life. Quality is not the life is not justified, but everyone interested in a high standard of living. Today, the two most important issues of facing the world are the energy security of environmental concerns. India today happens to rank the sixth term of the energy consumptions. The India energy sector structurally handled five separate ministries of the coal, petroleum, natural gas, atomic energy, power, and non conventional energy sources. The sustainable development and that meets the needs to present energy drive without compromising ability future generation to meet their own needs. India's energy economic development has cause and effect relationship to achieve the desired rate of the growth of the economy. It is also needs adequate energy either produced individually or by means of the import in order to maintain the required economic growth. We should the ordinance of the energy from the natural energy resources and renewable energy resources in order to deliver the sustained growth of 8% through the 2031 India world at least need grow primary energy supply 3 to 4 times, whereas the electric supply needs grow rate of 5 to 7 times the present consumptions. To meet the demand of our energy, the India has to depend largely coal. The coal today accounts for the 50% of India commercial energy consumptions, around 76% of the domestic coal and productions dedicated the power of the generations. Coal shall be remain most dominant energy source till the 2031 to 32, possibly behind. Hydraulic has the energy of the potential 50,000 megawatts and India and throughout the contributions of overall energy and recommend is small. It is a flexibility and suitability is very valuable, but along with the exploration of the hydro potential very valuable, but along with the hydro potential arises environmental concerns and the problems resettlement of the rehabilitations of the affected peoples. Nuclear energy offers India another powerful means of long-term security. India needs to develop its thorium cycle for nuclear power. Renewable energy sources will need play greater role maximally and develop the domestic of supply options as well as need the diverse of the energy resources. Solar power and wind energy, biofuel, etc. will have to play the big role of energy security as well as being environmental friendly. If the India exploits entire renewable resources, it will be able to meet only 5% the total requirement with existing technologies. As such, the renewable can be used to supplement but not as the main source. The transportation sector plays the crucial role of creating huge demand for liquefied petroleum. Most of the vehicles are designed to run the liquid fuel. The energy security and the in terms of the petroleum is a big and due to change the price of the supply from the oil and rich country. Energy saving is a national cause and all the citizens have to join the hands and make all the efforts in making the India an energy of efficient country. The village is the nucleus economic development as far as India concerned. We must keep in view of million of living in the villages thriving conventional fuels for cooking and lighting. These issues related to sustainable development, the need to take the challenge of meeting their objectives in time of bound manner. Basic education which promotes the functional literacy and livelihood skills and understanding of intermediate environment of the values responsible for the citizenship and preconditions of the sustainable development. Renewable energy technologies are essential component to sustainable energy as they generally contribute to world energy security, reducing the dependence on the fossil fuel resources, providing the opportunities, migrating the greenhouse gases. The availability of the resources of the future tense conventional resources, fossil fuels found several parts of the earth at varying depending depths. It was formed by slow decomposition and chemical actions of buried organic matter under the favorable pressure, heat and bacterial marine environment during the several million years. Presently, we are passing through the peak period fossil age. As per the estimate, if the world continues to consume the fossil fuel at present rates, the resource of the coal, oil, gas will 240 and 70 years respectively. Hydro resources among all renewable hydropower is the most established source of the electric power. Early generation of electricity 1880 was often derived from the hydro turbines. A number of the large medium-sized hydro schemes have been developed. The global capacity of the hydropower is 6,27,000 megawatt hydro installation and plants of lasting. This is due to continuous steady operations without the high temperature or the other stresses. Therefore, is often produced electricity at low cost. Nuclear resources U-235, U-233, U-39 or the nuclear fuel in nuclear reactors. This is known as the fissile materials. U-235 is a natural, U-239 produces TS-232, 38 respectively. U-32 known as the fertile material, natural uranium is U-35. Currently, there are the 440 nuclear power plants in the world generating the electricity. Non-conventional energy sources. Non-conventional technology developments stage at present share is very small. Solar energy, it can be major sources of power. Can be utilized for the thermo-photovoltaic conversion systems. The solar radiation receives the surface of the earth bright sunny day and at noon approximately 1 kilowatt per meters. The continuously interrupts the solar power is 178 billion megawatts, which is about 10,000 times the world demand, but so far it could not be developed on a larger scale. According to the one estimate, if all buildings of the world is covered with the solar PV panel to fulfill the electrical power requirements of the world. Wind energy. The power applicable in the winds over the Earth's surface is estimated 1.6 into 10 to the power of 7 megawatt, which is one of the more than the present energy requirement of the world. The wind power is the most economical of all renewable energy sources. Installation cost and wind power is 4 crore of the megawatt. The wind power installation of the world wide have crossed 447,317 megawatt. Wind power generation is the fastest growing energy source and it is expanding at the rate of more than 30% annually. Biomass energy. The energy is available from the animal vegetations are called biomass energy resources. This is the important resource of developing the countries, especially in rural areas. The principles of the biomass resources are trees, leaves and forest industries waste, the algae and other vegetations from the ocean and lake, the urban waste, the municipal and industrial waste, the rural waste. The biomass material may be transformed by chemical and biological process to produce the intermediate biofuel such as a biogas and producer of the gas and ethanol and charcoal, etc. Geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is derived from the huge amount of the stored thermal energy in the interior of Earth. It is the overall contributions of the total energy requirement is negligible. However, it is very important resource locally. Globally, the geothermal power is growing steadily at the rate of about 8.5% per year. Ocean tidal energy. The potential ocean tides of the resources is estimated 550 billion kilowatt hour per year. It is in developing the stage at present. There are only the new few tidal plants. Ocean wave energy. Till now, no major development programs has been carried out. Some of our small prototype devices have been tested. The resources is more concentrated in deep sea, where it is difficult to harness and deliver the estimated potential in about 2 lakhs megawatt. The ocean thermal conversion. The ocean thermal technology in front of the stage. Conceptual designs of small OTEC plants have been finalized. Their commercial prospects are quite uncertain. The potential is likely to be more than the tidal or wave energy. The section scenario in India. The energy is a primary source for all socio-economic activities. The development of any country depends upon the consumption of energy. All sectors such as industries, transport, telecommunication, agriculture, household service, etc. depends upon the energy. With increase in populations in India, the energy demand is increasing and the energy sources are becoming source. Sector-wise energy consumption in India. Annual per capita energy consumption. Republic India in the world. 6 energy consumer in India. Annual per capita consumption of total energy is 290 kilogram of equivalent, that commercial 130. The annual per capita consumption electrical energy is 883.6 kilowatt 1/6 global and 5048 kilowatt hour and 1975 kilowatt hour. Overall, the electrical power productions. The total power generation capacity in India in 1947 was 1360 megawatt and in 1991 it grew 65,000 megawatts, of which 45,000 megawatts was generated the thermal power plants. The percent of the power generating capacity by different types of generating plants Then the present installed capacity of electrical power generation is 2,33,927 megawatt. 1,53,793 megawatt is produced through the thermal power plants. 4,780 megawatts from atomic power plants. This generated of the conventional energy sources. Conventional energy sources, fossil fuels, coal. India has the vast resource coal of 7% reserved by the third largest world after the China, United States. According to the rough estimates, total renewable coal in India 75 billion tons with present of mining rate consumptions. India will have the enough coal for next to 38 years. Indian coal ash content 25 to 50%, low heat value and content 1%. Oil and gas, we have only 0.5% of the world oil and gas resource, and crude oil reserve is estimated as 600 million tons, enough to last for 18 years. The natural gas reserve is estimated 1 billion and enough to last 26 years. Oil and gas resources are sufficient even for the transportation sector. 37% of requirements of oil gas made through the domestic productions, and the balance is imported. The domestic production is increasing now slowly. However, the recent feedings gas resources, the Krishna, Godavari and basin, Visakhapatnam, and change the trend. Hydro resources. Hydro resources. India stands fifth list in the nation's hydro resources. Total hydroelectric potential is 84,000 megawatt. In addition to this, 6,750,000 megawatts is generated small mini micro hydro stations. It is estimated that 3,000 megawatts can be produced through the pumped storage power station. Present generating capacity of through the hydropower station is 40,000 megawatt. Efforts are taken to add more hydropower to the systems. Nuclear resources. India has a modest reserve uranium, mostly located in Jaguda and Jharkhand. Electrical power generation 2.7%, 20,000 megawatts by 2020. Thorium is available in abundance in India in the form of the monazite. In Kerala, thorium is India is estimated 4,50,000 tons, which is about 60% of the world thorium reserves. Thorium fertile material which is converted into feasible U-233 fast breed reactor. U-33 is the normal thermal reactor, such as the pressurized heavy water reactors. Till 2011, the atomic power is 4,800 megawatts in India. Now, various new atomic power projects have been processed to construct in India through the international atomic energy agencies. These atomic power projects is mostly located in the states of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Karnataka. In Tamil Nadu, atomic power projects called the Kudangulam atomic power plants has been commissioned, and at present it generates the power of 1000 megawatts. A second unit, 1000 megawatts capacity, is under the construction and expected to come to the operations within a year. In addition to that, the various atomic power projects are the throughout being proposed the corporations of various foreign countries, non-conventional sources. Renewable energy is still infancy. As 31st January 2014, India had an installed capacity of 31 gigawatts non-conventional renewable technology based on the electricity, wind and small idle projects and the Bagis cognitive solar biomass based power. As of the August 2011, India has deployed renewable energy to provide the electricity in 8,846 remote villages, installed the 4.4 million families biogas plants and 1,800 microwave units and 4.7 square meters of the solar water heater capacity. The Indian anticipate the add another 3.6 gigawatts renewable energy capacity on the December 2012. India plans about the 30 gigawatts of the electricity capacity based on the electric renewable technologies. Renewable energy projects is regulated, championized the government of ministry. Solar energy, India has the solar energy potential. It reaches the highest global solar radiations of the energy, 5 trillion, 4.7 kilowatt hour, 1 gigawatt hour and 2 gigawatt and 20 million square meters of energy collectors. India plans utility to scale of the solar power generation plants in solar parks and dedicated the infrastructures by the state governments, among the others the government and Gujarat and Rajasthan. Solar thermal energy program is used for this. Solar thermal energy is being promoted for water heating and cooking and drying, spacing, heating, and government is proposing solar assisted water heating mandatory in certain categories of building. Amendment in the building solar and photovoltaic program. Solar energy is being used for the solar lanterns and home lighting systems, street lighting systems, and solar water pumps and power plants. The total development of the SPV systems. Wind energy, India has the fifth largest installed wind power capacity in the world in 2010. Wind power is accounted for the 6% of India's total installed power capacity and 1.6% of the country power output. The development of the wind power in India begins in the 1990s by Tamil Nadu Electricity Board and Tuticorin and has significantly increased in the last few years. As of December 2011, the installed capacity of wind power in India was 15.9 gigawatts, spread across the many of the states. India largest wind power is generating the state was many states of India. The largest wind power generating state was Tamil Nadu for accounting 30% installed capacity, followed by decreasing the order of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Karnataka, Rajasthan. The state Gujarat is estimated the maximum 10.6 gigawatt. Geothermal energy, India geothermal energy installed the capacity of experimental and commercial use of the insignificant. India has the potential resources harvest geothermal energy. The resources map has been grouped into the 6 geothermal provinces, the Himalayan provinces, and areas faulted blocks, volcanic or deep sedimentary basins, and radioactive provinces and chromatic provinces. The Thapani, Chandigarh, Buga, Jammu Kashmir, Gambe, Green, Gujarat, and Manikaran and Sukand, Jharkhand, Chandigarh, Jammu Kashmir, India plans to set up for the first geothermal biomass energy. A large quantity of the biomass is available in our country. The form of the dried waste of the agro residues, the fuel, wood, pinks, etc. The wet waste like the castle of the dungs of the organic influence, sugar canes and bagages, banana stems, and the generation of electric power 19,500 megawatt. Geothermal energy. Geothermal resources in the country of 10,000 megawatt as a result of various resources assessment of the study surveys 340 potential springs. The geothermal reservoirs suitable for the power generations have been located in the Chandigarh and Lucknow, Jammu Kashmir, 3,300 kilowatts. Ocean tidal energy. There is no functions of tidal plant present in the Ministry of the Non-Conventional Energy Sources as sponsored the tidal power plant and creek and have been identified on the development of the tidal energy. Ocean wave and OTEC source. 150 kilowatt pilot ocean wave plant has been installed at Belgium Harbour near the Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala, and average potential Indian coast estimated around the 0.2 megawatt. The wave presented proposal OTEC plant at Macaroni Island of the landscape wave. The growth of the energy sector planning in India. The energy critical building block for the development of economy of the country power considered the GDP multiplier. India is the sixth largest energy of the consumer in the world to deliver the sustained growth rate 8 to 9% through the next 18 years till 2031. The electricity is an essential requirement for all facets of the life. It has been recognized the basic human need. It is key of accelerating the growth, the generation of employment, elimination of poverty, or the growth of development, especially rural areas. India's electrical sector of the annual growth rate 5.1% of the last 10th and 5-year plan. The demand of the electrical power is increasing at 9%. Consequently, supply the demand gap has been widening, the resulting average annual peak shortfall and 16% as resulted for the load shedding and frequency tripping and blackouts. The equipment features. The installed capacity of the electrical power generation is 1362 megawatt 1947 1,44,564 in 2008. The capacity utilization estimated less than 60%. The bridge gap of the cater future demands of the country needs the additional power of generations and the capacity of the megawatt of the 5 years. The national electric 2010 2 lakhs megawatts. The growth per capita of the electrical energy consumption growth projections and the power sectors are given. The presence of the household access of the electricity is 56%. The household on the average 44%. Electrification of the rural area is very important for the uniform development of the country. There are about 6 lakh and estimated 80,000 of the village are still electrified. Of these are about 20,000 villages in remote and the difficult areas which are likely to be electrified in by the conventional grid extension. The most of these villages are in hills, forests and deserts and islands. The government aims to the electrify all the remaining electrified villages in the country and in the time of the bound the manner through the special electrification programs. The remote villages and the human hamlets are electrified through the decentralized generations using the non-conventional energy resources such as solar energy, biomass and the micro, mini, small hydro resources. Energy conservation. Energy is one of the basic essential requirement of human life. In fact, the backbone of present day of civilizations. The energy is an indispensable component of industrial product employment, the economic growth and environment of and comfort of higher per capita energy consumptions, higher per capita gross domestic product. The consumption of energy is increasing with improvement per capita income, as there is a strong correlations between the standard of living and energy consumptions. Now a stage has arrived that no man can be live without energy. We are aware of have experienced the inconvenience caused due to the sudden failure of the electric power supply for a short while. The numerous activities of our daily life are affected. Imagine the situations that would be arise the supply of other sources energy such as gas, oil also interrupted. One way of the cope with increased energy demands and to expand the production of energy. The problem can also be solved to great extent of the conservation of energy. Increasing the energy productions is an expensive and long-term options, whereas the energy conservation offers the cost-effective and immediate solutions. To create the awareness about the energy conservations of the Nationally Conservation Day. Meaning of energy conservations. The energy conservation means reductions in energy consumptions but without making the sacrifice the quality of the productions. In other words, increasing the productions from the given amount of energy, the input reducing losses, wastage and minimizing the efficiency. The importance of energy conservation. The investment energy conservation is very small compared to generating equivalent amount of energy through the conservations. As per the slogan, energy saved is energy generated. The energy saving is more economical and energy generated because the energy saving at the user end as the percent of conventional energy the increasing. It is very important to conserve the energy and utilize it more efficiently. This also helps to reducing the environmental pollutions. Advantages of energy conservation. These are the three major incentives in energy conservation: decreasing the energy requirement to do the jobs, thereby reducing the cost of the product; conserving the limited conventional assets of energy, future generations; saving the environmental harmful populations. The energy conservation means reduction of the consumption but without making the sacrifice the quality of productions, in otherwise increasing the production from the given amount of energy, reducing the losses, wastage, and minimizing the efficiency. General electrical energy conservation opportunities, and generally the energy consumption is taking place mostly through the electrical routes only. By the ends, the most of the conservation measures are adopted in savings the electrical energy. Suggestions are known as the equals energy consumption opportunities, and the simple electrical echoes on switching off the loads, charging from the electrical heating, and the solar heating, and the solar heating or the gas burner heating, proper housekeeping apparatus, reducing the peak demand by staging the use of the large loads, providing the automatic and thermostatic and control the water heaters, refrigerators, air conditioners, etc. Using recently developed the tiny switches which switch on the electronic apparatus during their sleeping modes, changing the operating cycle. Electrical equipment conserve energy, replacing the sufficient lamp by energy sufficient lamps by using the energy of the efficient motors. Thank you. We'll see in the